Hello, in this video I'm going to introduce you to Photoshop. Photoshop is a bitmap program. It's perfect for dealing with photographs. When you start creating a new file, you can choose one of the presets if you want, or you can change your file settings directly. You can change the measurements, the size, resolution, also the color mode, depending what type of artwork you're doing, and hit create. That will create a new file. So first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just reset my Photoshop in the way that you're probably going to see when you first open the program. Like with Illustrator, it's very adaptable, so that means you can move, switch, pull out, close different settings. And that means that you can adjust it in a different ways, or sometimes even close something that you really want. So first thing I would like you to do, I would like you to reset your program. So go to the Workspace and reset Essentials. Key things to first notice. On the top you've got a menu and the sub-menu. Left hand side you've got your tools. I actually prefer my tools to look like that, so I'm going to change it straight away. There are layers on the bottom in the widget, and you've got certain widgets already open as well. Color you can put here, you can find gradients, patterns and things like that. On the side also you've got an access to history, which will allow you to go back on yourself if you made a mistake. If you want something else, you can open additional widgets as well. So for example, I can open my brushes, have them added to my windows if I want to. Okay, so let's start. Let's have a look first of all on different tools that you've got. So on the top you've got your move tool, so similar as a selection tool in Illustrator. At the moment we've got nothing on our page, so there's nothing there to move. So let us actually create something. So you can go to the brush and draw something with the brush. My brush at the moment it's really big, so I'm going to make it smaller. It's a bit better. So draw something. And if you try to move it right now, what you're going to see is I cannot actually move it. And there is a reason for it, because I've started drawing directly on the layer of the background. If in your layers menu, your layer is called background, that will lock that layer. That means you're just working directly on that layer, and that's not the best way to actually do it. So it's better for you to work on a separate layer. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go back on myself, select my brush again. But before I do anything, I'm going to create a new layer, and now I'm going to draw on that layer. So what you're going to see, if I will go back to my move tool now, that my object is on the separate layer, I can move it independently from the background. So each time you want to have a separate element, you can create it on a different layer. So if I will go now and draw something else in a different color, you're going to see that I can move that element separately from my black lines, which are on the separate layer. Okay, what else can you do? Well, you can crop the image. So that's similar to what you're going to find in the options on your phone or any other areas. You need to press enter to accept the changes. If you want to go back to a color that you've used before, you can use Eyedropper for that purpose. So from the Tools menu, you can pick up Eyedropper, and click on the area that you want to pull the color from. And you can see here in your color boxes, that color is going to change to whatever you selected. So that's helpful if you want to find exact color in the image. The other things I would like you to have a look at is a bucket. So I'm going to grab a paint bucket here, and what's going to happen with the paint bucket, I'll change the color so it's easier for you to see. I can actually fill the whole area with that color. What if I would like to fill a smaller area with the bucket? Or if I would like to just create like almost like a shape or an area like that. So selection tools can help me with that. There are a few different types of selection tools. There are basic shape selection tools called marquee. There is a lasso that you can use, and we're going to talk a bit more about those later on in another video. So for a moment, I would just like you to grab a marquee, select an area, change the color to something else, and fill it with the bucket. And you can see only the area that's been actually selected is going to be filled with that color. So now, if I would like to actually continue working and draw something outside of that area, I can't because my selection actually blocked it. So before I do anything else, I will need to deselect it. And I can do it from the top menu, press select and deselect. It will allow me to continue working on my image. There are basic text tools similar to Illustrator again. And you can change the type of your font that you're using. You can add a different style to your font. You can change the size of your font. You can change the color and so on. And notice what's happening here. As soon as I'm changing from one tool to another, my sub-menu is changing. So each tool, it's going to have a different options on the top. So just bear that in mind. The other tool I would like you to try is Smudge. Smudge is going to actually give you some very interesting effects. So I'm going to actually zoom in, Command plus, Command minus. Okay, I'm going to grab a simple brush, I think. What you can see that with the smudge, I can move and shift what I've drawn and mix it together. And depending if your brush is soft or hard, you're going to have a different effect with that. So what I would like you to do, I would like you to choose an area in your image and just smudge it a bit. That will give you a chance to create some interesting effects. If you are zoom in the image and you just want to move around, if you hold space on your keyboard, that will change your tool to a hand, and that will allow you to drag around and move around the image. You can create some simple shapes like rectangular tool, or an ellipse. So before we move forward, I would like you to play a bit with those tools, and then we're going to look at layers. So by now you should have a page that is just full of different files of different tools. I would like you to select your selection tool in the tools menu. And the first thing I want you to notice is, just get rid of all of that because I'm not using it, so I can just close it. Here we go. That will give me a bit more space for my layers. The first thing that you're going to see is, depending where you actually created your shapes, they're even going to be on top or behind of your objects. So in the layers menu, you can actually drag and move different layers, depending if you want them to be on top or on the bottom. That's pretty important because sometimes you create something and it's covering something else. So that will just allow you to make sure that all of the elements are visible in the way that you actually want it. So after you finish playing with the tools, I would like you to take the screenshot ready for the journal and see you in the next video.